Hello and welcome to The Final Frontiersman, a YouTube channel about all things Trek. I am Bill and I am very excited to share with you today a review for another product in the Star Trek Adventures role-playing game line. This is the starter set for Star Trek Adventures 2nd edition. Full disclosure, I received a free copy to review by Modiphius. Thank you again, Sophie, for considering me. And it arrived yesterday. I spent today tearing through it, going through it page by page, taking a look, writing down my thoughts, and now I want to share it with you in review form. So, as usual for the reviews on this channel, we use the alert system. We call yellow alert for the things that we like that you should pay attention to. We call red alert for the things we think are great, and the very rarely used black alerts for the things that are game-changing and groundbreaking in our opinions. So we're going to be utilizing some of those as we go through this review. So I will jump into the small window and let's get underway. Star Trek Adventures role-playing game 2nd edition starter set. So here we go. Now this is pretty much your standard type of box starter set. First of all, again, the box is very sturdy. I love the quality of the box. Very happy with it. It's not the flimsy cardboard type. Before, this is an actual like solid box that comes with the game. Really prefer that. Love that, so I was happy with that. Also, shout out to Zatu Games. I don't know if I'm putting the accent there right. From the UK. This successfully arrived from the UK to Japan, and Zatu seems to, when you get the package, it's like, oh wow, they used the minimum amount of cardboard necessary to send it. But then when you open that thing, it is fortified. Every time I receive something from Zatu, it is pristine when it arrives to me. And if you see the outside of the box when it gets to me, it looks like my package was involved in a few drunken brawls from there to here. But thanks again, Zatu Games. You always do a great job. But anyhow, standard type of starter set. Has a condensed rulebook for everything you'll need to run the starter set. It has a campaign adventure guide, so you have something to actually run. That you have it right there in the box. Has tokens, it has dice, and it has some reference cards for the GM and players. So let's break it down one by one, step by step, go into it. So first of all, let's look at the rulebook. The rulebook, it's 48 pages, and if you download the free Quick Start PDF rules that they released for 2nd edition, this is up until a point the exact same rulebook as the Quick Start, up through personal combat. Then, where in the Quick Start it gave you the free mission, the adventure that goes with the Quick Start, that you could play it there. This completes the missing section that was not available in the Quick Start rules. The last half of this rulebook are the Starship rules, Starship Fundamentals and Starship Combat, as well as some flowcharts and guides and that were left out of the Quick Start because they were not needed. So this is your complete condensed rulebook for Star Trek Adventures 2nd edition, and bam, we are giving this red alert. Here we go. The reason why is, of course, this is going to be great for anyone that's brand new for Star Trek Adventures 2nd edition. This gives you exactly what you need to run the game as it is presented in the box. However, for game masters like me who have been playing for years, 1st edition, and our brains are still hardwired for 1st edition, when we see a situation in the game, when things are happening, our instincts, our natural response is thinking in 1st edition rules. This is great to have such a condensed and just direct, concise, immediately accessible guide to all of the main rules, and easy to spot where the changes are if you know 1st edition very well, without having to have the large but gorgeous main core rulebook right there to flip through. 48 pages, very, very well put together, very easy to navigate, and for, again, not just new game masters, but old game masters who are trying to get their brains adapted to 2nd edition, which of course there's not that many changes. It's not that big of a change, but there are some little details here and there that of course your instinct might be automatically first edition, maybe thinking challenge dice. If you want to flip through and see like what are the different weapon qualities, how do they translate now in second edition, you have that right there in such an easily accessible book. Let's take a look at it. Why don't we? Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it. And it's also very, very well put together. It is such high quality. I love the fact that the pages are very firm, but the cover is also a bit more firm, so it's not a floppy little book, even though it's like disappearing into like subspace as I put it over there. It is very, 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 very high quality. I'm happy with it. Great art that you get from the core rulebook in here. They spare no expense. Again, if you saw the quick start, you know the first half of this book already, but this is going to give you the rest of the rules and in physical form so you could keep it with you. Love it. It deserves the red alert. Has the flowcharts, has all the what's it called, the tables and that to roll on. Everything that you love from the main core rulebook right there. Couldn't be happier. Stand down red alert for now. The next part in the box is it's the campaign book. Now this is a pretty big campaign. This is how many pages? I write down 58 pages. A 58-page campaign book that can be quite a number of sessions to take your crew through. It is a 3-part adventure, so 3 whole adventures in 3-act structures for the main story of this campaign, but it also includes 3 additional mission briefs that you can pepper in through the campaign wherever you think is necessary, or even post-campaign, whatever makes sense for you to build the story, build the flow that you want for your game. I read through this today. I liked what I saw. I think this is going to be a great introduction to the game for new players, and especially new GMs running it. They are so thoughtful the way they put this together, and that was mainly the reason why I'm reading through it. People who have watched this channel know I don't really do pre-made adventures, so that wasn't really my main concern. I want to see how they build it for the starter set. They are so considerate in the little but very, very conspicuous and standing out notes for the GM to remind you of all the constant things that you need to be thinking of as you're going through the pages. Like when the scene changes, you lose momentum from the players. They lose 1 point of momentum. It has a reminder there every time it prompts you to start a new scene. It has so much guidance here to take you step by step through the rules, and it's structured in a way to slowly introduce the rules step by step. Again, a lot of starter sets for role-playing games do this, but some do not, and we've encountered some of that in the past. Fortunately, Modiphius, and we're pretty familiar with the writers for Star Trek Adventures now. We know their quality, and they have your back. New GMs, they got your back. If you're running this, you're not going to have many problems. Combine this along with the rulebook, it's going to satisfy probably 99% of the issues that you have, and any of the little edge things are not anything you'll really need to get hung up over for a starter set game like this. Really liked it. Also, story-wise, not going to spoil anything, but I thought the story was really good. It has a lot of the elements of what I consider like pure Star Trek adventure. There's stuff with combat, there's stuff with exploration, science, and I think it introduces a new species for this story that is really compelling. I love the uniqueness. I love the way that this species was designed, and another species it reminds me of. I don't want to say any more. Basically, I should have given this whole book, I think I will just for the sake of it, posterity, red alert for this campaign, simply because of the way it guides the GM. This is your first officer. This book is your built-in XO for new GMs running this game. Maybe it's your first RPG you're running. This is going to tell you straight up how to do the things step by step as you need it. And one more point I just want to stress: if you are a new GM, just to be sure, when you're getting into Star Trek Adventures, it's a very narrative role-playing game. If you're coming from a more mechanical heavy RPGs such as the ever-popular Dungeons and Dragons, this is a narrative game. You don't have to get hung up on the details. You don't have to worry about things. It's more theater of the mind. It's more of storytelling. So don't worry about the little details. If you're looking through a campaign, like, it's not mentioning distances, it's not doing that, that's because it's not necessary. It's the story, it's how you're telling, it's how the players are experiencing the world that matters. It's not the number crunching. None of that is the focus. So if any of that pops into your mind, just take a deep breath, say it doesn't matter, just tell the story and make it as entertaining and enjoyable as possible for your players, and by golly, for yourself too. That's what role-playing game is all about. Role-playing gaming is all about. Everyone, including you, having fun. Great campaign, and the fact that it's three-part story and 3 additional mission briefs to expand it however you like. Hours and hours and hours of gaming built into this box already. Can't complain about that. So let's one more thing I should mention. Even though it's built into the book as you're reading through it does have some maps. So when you get this and you have the PDFs that you'll get, I unfortunately don't have a PDF because I just have a review copy. But if you have the PDFs, that would be easy for you to print out or cut out maps that are used in different scenes for ground combat, possibly space combat, whatever it may be. So it is not a separate map, but it is built into the book and it's on the pages, so they are available for this too. So those of you who like using battle maps or grid maps for your things, it will also give you details on how to use them too. So now I believe we can stand down. Red alert. Also some great art in the book too, which again, sadly I can't share with you nicely or cleanly because I don't have the PDF to display it properly, and I don't want to just snap a picture of it with my phone camera. Love that very, very much. The third thing, might as well just keep going with the same large size physical thing. Excuse me, I'm about to spill things on here. But we have our reference cards. It comes with a bunch of reference cards. First, the USS Challenger itself, which is the hero ship for the adventure, and also the hero ship really of second edition. We have the USS Challenger and its crew leading us through the second edition books, with the characters chiming in and giving their advice on playing the game and also Star Trek universe. If you read the core rulebook or the Game Master Toolkit, you'll be familiar with the characters by now. But this game and the adventure is, again, as a starter, it's built with pre-made characters and ships, which are, of course, the USS Challenger and its crew. So you have 7 crew members that you can give to your players. They don't all have to appear in the game, and you can play with any combination you want. So have your characters, or have your players choose the character that resonates best with them. So you got the crew on the 7 cards and the ship, but also it has reference cards for the players and GMs. Just again, much like the rulebook that you have here, this is a very, very quick, short, concise rule summary for so much of it, like the core mechanics, recovering stress, major actions, breaches in starships, natures of breaches. These are the same reference cards that appear, or that come, I should say, with the GM Toolkit that was also released earlier this year, with the exception of the fact that there are now the pre-made character sheets. And the other thing they did, many of those cards that came with the GM Toolkit are now printed on the reverse of the character where it applies the most. You have a whole bunch of reference cards that, again, the characters you're playing or the characters you're not playing, you can pass these around. And even once you are done with the main the main adventures that come in the book, when you're done with the campaign and you're still playing, you still have a set of reference cards that are going to help you in all of your games from this point forward. They are never going to be not useful. So always a good thing. No problem there with that. Reference cards, I love them. I use the first edition ones a lot when I was running the game, always at the side. So if I need to flip to what a different department can do and share that with the players, that's what I do. So let's get into the next part here. What do we have here? The tokens. Of course, I don't have the token board anymore, but what I did is punch them out. So here they are. Now, the cool thing about the tokens is it comes with 9 determination tokens, which is the first time I actually have determination tokens. They're on this baggie now. 36 threat tokens with the red alert symbol. But it's also 36 momentum tokens, which, of course, 6 is the maximum. On the reverse side, you have the momentum tokens. And the reason why it's 36, they have 6 different factions, 6 different polities, with 6 tokens each. So you have your standard Starfleet momentum, or let's say you're playing a Ferengi game. You have Ferengi momentum. You could have Romulan momentum. You could have Klingon momentum, which apparently I didn't take one out. You could have Cardassian momentum. You could have Orion momentum, which honestly, I did not recognize the Orion symbol when I opened up the box. And I'm like, what the heck is that group? It took me quite a while to figure out that was Orion. But yes, it's Orion. So whichever type of polity you're using, if it's in these 6, you have your own. So for that, I'm giving that a yellow alert. That's nice. You no longer have to just stick with the regular Starfleet general momentum, because of course second edition is pushing you to play whatever faction, whatever polity you want. So you pick those 6 momentum to use, and then the rest of the other 30 tokens are threat. And they could go well over 30 if you're risking it a lot. So I thought that was really cool. Now, here's a problem. I do have a downside. I do have a negative. Let's stand down yellow. No, let's keep yellow alert up. Let's draw your attention to this. There is a problem I had, and I don't know if it's across the board with all the starter sets, but it's a problem that I had today, which was a little heartbreaking. Well, first of all, when the package arrived, as I say, it came from the UK, it came to Japan. I could hear this stuff rattling around inside there, not the dice. I knew there were things loose. Tokens, of course, that makes sense. They get loose, they get jostled loose a lot when I get games sent to me. That's no big deal. I opened up the box, and yeah, there were quite a number of the tokens that were knocked out of the little board, the chip board that's there, and they were just roaming around free. That wasn't a problem. A weird thing, though, it seems like a few of the tokens, like, for example, let's say the Orion token, this one got knocked out of the board, and then just in transit and jostling around, it then slotted itself into a different place of a token that was also knocked out. So there were some things where, like, there were Orion ones in Klingon spaces, and there were Romulan ones in Federation spaces. It was really, really weird. But anyhow, that's not the problem. That wasn't a problem. That was interesting, but that wasn't a problem. When I saw that, I thought, oh, okay, well, they popped out so easily. They should be easy to remove from this board. They were not. Sadly, the ones that popped out were, a few more were, but as I would pop in the rest of it out, I started to get little tears because they weren't completely perforated. So I had to start being really careful with some of them because, like you could see here, the Romulan one got nicked a little. Another Romulan one that's probably still in the bag did start to rip, and I had to carefully peel it out and then glue the tiny rip back on to try to make it indistinguishable. But then when I was testing the other ones just to try to get them as loose as I could to try to minimize any kind of damage, there was one Federation one that was not separated at all from the paper on the bottom side. So when I wiggled it to see where it was loose and where it wasn't, it completely stripped the bottom of the token off. That wasn't good. That wasn't good. And there were probably about 6-7 tokens that got some damage, some ripping on it, even though I was being careful. I would suggest, just in case, again, that could just be a flaw with the way mine was cut. These things happen. So I would just suggest having a box cutter or an X-Acto knife or something with you as you're punching these out. If it looks like there's resistance and they're not going to be an easy pop out, I would just use that little blade, and just to be safe, if you don't want damage, cut it out. Now, I use the original acrylic Federation tokens that came with the Borg set for first edition. I'm going to still use those. As nice as these tokens are, I'm just going to use my acrylic set. So that's not a big deal for me. But if I was depending or intending on using these tokens as my momentum tokens, this would be heartbreaking for me. I hate when my components get damaged, and I especially hate it when they're damaged before I even get them to the table. This would have really shattered me. But I put some, probably can't see on here, but I'll put a picture of. I put some blue marker on it to try to conceal it. So the fact that my vision is getting worse the older I get, if I throw it across the room, I don't even notice it. But if I'm holding it in my hand, yeah, it's just screaming in my ear. It's damage. So just be careful. Just be careful, especially if you're as picky as I am when it comes to keeping your things in good condition, he says, as he just starts jamming them inside the plastic bag. But yeah, as I would say, keep a small knife, cutter knife with you as you're punching out, just in case. Test them first, see if there's any resistance, see if they're not separated. Don't damage your tokens if you can help it. One other thing I should point out with the damage thing, all the ones that ripped and were damaged were like in the same line on there, because there's like rows of the tokens. They all seem to come from the same line. So I don't know. Take a look. Just be careful. All right, stand down, yellow alert. We have the last thing here. Last thing that's in the box. The last thing is the dice. So the dice I am giving a yellow alert to, because look at that. Look at the color. Now this set, it's a unique color only for this starter set. And I have no idea. Now the picture makes them look a bit greener than they are. They are, I don't know if you could see very well. They're a lot more blue-green than green-blue. There's a distinction that the pictures made them out to be. I love this color. I don't even know what this color is supposed to be. It kind of vaguely reminded me of like the medical tunics like Mbenga wears in Strange New Worlds. But there's also this kind of, I don't know, it's not translucent in any way, but it's kind of almost like a transporter beam kind of shading to it. I just love this color, and I'm a dice guy, and I have all my first edition dice here. I got my Klingon dice. Sadly, I don't know why I didn't take out the Kirk Tunic dice yet. I see how lonely they're not in my pool here. I absolutely love the color of these dice, and I love the new second edition font used for the numbers. Super clear, super nice, screams Star Trek Adventure when you look at it. These are going to be my dice of choice for rolling as I can. Love these things. Also, farewell challenge dice, we still love you. But love the dice. You get a full set of 5, so that's what you need to play the game. As I said, everything you need to play is included in this set. So stand down, yellow alert. And that's the end of the review. Overall, the star set is great. I was far happier with what I saw than what I expected. Because, like, I don't really need a starter set myself. I do now when I see these dice. Oh, magic chair. Oh, where'd it go? Ah, there it is. So, love the dice. Tokens I don't need, but for new players, yeah, that's great, especially with the different factions. But that rule book, man, that rule book, having that rule book and the reference cards, which now I have 2 sets because I had the GM kit, but that's good. If you have the players around your table, you got multiple sets to pass around. Never a problem having more of something good. All of that rule book that comes with it, that you could just have right there to help me get my mind focus on 2nd edition without having to worry about going into the multi-100-page core rulebook, which again is gorgeous, love it. But when you're in the middle of a game, you just want to jump right to the information you need. No flipping, no looking at index, just quickly go through. You can find it. Love that. I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy to have a physical copy of it. Again, Modiphius, Sophie, thank you very much for considering me for this. This is going to get a lot of use far beyond this review. The campaign booklet I'm probably not going to use, but I do sometimes take ideas from it. For new players, new GMs, you will love the campaign booklet. You will love the story. You will love the adventure. And again, shout out to the writers. Michael, Merrick, I believe you were the main ones. Was Al also in there? Probably Al. He's everywhere. He's omnipresent. But did a great job making sure that it is structured so well to lead new players, new GMs through it. I have no complaints about the material itself. Just again, fair warning, watch out for those token punch boards. They might, could just be me, they might need a little assistance with a cutter knife to make sure you don't damage your tokens like sadly we did for mine. But that's it. I loved it. It's great so far. Everything Star Trek Adventures 2E is just hitting it out of the park. So excited to be playing this. So excited to be using this soon. My game's going to be coming back from hiatus soon-ish, I hope. We've been talking about even today. So I am ramped up and I am going to be using these dice. I'm going to be using that. But thank you very much. What did you think? What are you going to do? Are you going to get this? Are you going to be a player? Are you going to be a GM? What are your thoughts? Anything. Talk to me. I'm lonely up here in space. Look. There's nobody else on the bridge. They abandon me every night shift. I'm the only one here, lonely. So, thank you very much. As always, stay safe out there, my friends. Live long and prosper. Peace and long life. See you next time.